This morning we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 14, verse 44. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Kim Kim Na Vishmarantika Maya Mohiti Cheshtasaha Yan Mohitam Jagat Sarvam Abhikshnam Vishma Tatmakam. Translation. What indeed is not forgotten by those whose minds are bewildered by the Lord's illusory energy. By that power of Maya, or illusion, this entire universe remains in perpetual bewilderment. And in this atmosphere of forgetfulness, no one can understand his or her own identity. Om Agyantimirandasya Ganangana Shalakaya Chaksurimilitam Janatasmai Si Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishnam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Shwayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Svapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama. These are the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the absolute truth. Krishna says in Gita that He's the source of all that is material and all that is spiritual within this world. What better authority do we have than the Lord? And here Krishna's giving his opinion about the nature of this world. Of course, he's given it before in Bhagavad Gita, Dukkalayama Shashvatam. It's a temporary place full of miseries, like rainy days on a little island in the river. We were hoping for sunny weather, but the nature of this world. He's given his opinion here about this world of illusion where the entire universe remains in perpetual bewilderment. And in this atmosphere of forgetfulness, no one understands who they are. So we should take his opinion as fact. Who knows better? He created it. Just like an architect. An architect, he designs the building, perhaps he oversees the construction of it. Who knows better about that building than the architect? But just like someone, he comes up with some invention and he makes a patent, and if someone wants to really know what that patent's like, they call him up and ask him, because he's the creator. He's manufactured it, he's marketing it, so he knows better. So when Krishna speaks about this world in which we live, we have to listen. We have to listen. Although we've heard many times, you're all young, but most of you have grown up in Krishna consciousness. You've heard this illusory nature of the world, Maya, over and over and over. So why are we speaking about it again? Why is Krishna speaking about it in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam? Later on, we'll hear the Lord's very wonderful, beautiful pastimes in Sri Vrindavan Dham, topmost of all Leelas. Here he is still in the 10th canto speaking about the illusory nature of the world. Why is he speaking about it again? Because Prabhupada said repetition of something is good, because by repetition, we finally understand. Sometimes we can understand quickly by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. That is their special grace. Remember, the very very, very first time I saw Srila Prabhupada, we were waiting at the Detroit airport. Last night we gave a long discussion about Prabhupada's pastimes, how I experienced them. But the very, very first time we saw Srila Prabhupada was when he arrived at the Detroit airport. None of us had ever seen him before. This was 1969, 1970. And he got off the plane, they walked on the tarmac, the passengers, and they came up the gateway there, and then there he was. We were like 200 enthusiastic, basically new devotees, and there was Prabhupada shining like the sun. And we brought this big Vyasasan, huge Vyasasan, like that part of the stage, really. It was ginormous. We brought it into the airport, and in the where you walk, between the gates, we put it right in the middle. People couldn't even pass by. We're having this huge kirtan. And all the people going to the gates, they were like totally bewildered. Prabhupada came in, totally detached, and he sat on the Vyasasan, Jaya Radha Madhava, Kunjabi, Gopi, thinking about the gopis in the Detroit airport. All glories to Prabhupada. And then he sat down, and we were all youngsters. So he gave a very simple lecture. Very simple lecture. And that lecture, of course, is, we've all given it many times to newcomers, how we're not the body. And we were listening, like, listening. We were young. We were listening. And then Prabhupada leaned over. I was sitting, like right there. The three of us boys were there. Prabhupada leaned over and he said, "Please believe me when I say you are not this material body." And I had this realization that I'm not the body. I'd heard it in so many lectures since I joined, but somehow when Prabhupada said it, believe me when I say you are not this material body. So repetition is required. Not aham mameti, no, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi. I'm not this body. The one day, they have those cartoons, the light bulb goes on above somebody's head. Oh, I got it. But repetition. So we're hearing again Krishna talking about dukkhalayam shashvatam, the illusory nature of this material world. Actually, traditionally, in the ashram, with the guru and the disciple, because previously people were more advanced than we are. They were more pure. In Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, people were much more refined than we are now. So in the ashram, repetition was necessary, but only 3 times. The guru would say something. You are not the body. You dissimulate. You are not the body. Getting to understand it. You are not the body. Ding, the light bulb comes on. Realization. How unfortunate we are to be born into Kali Yuga. We're so covered over to understand these things. Just imagine 3 times. You're not this body. You're not this body. You're not. But we can get there. Slow but steady wins the race. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. If we're diligent, if we take this process seriously, especially from youth. Youth is meant for acquiring knowledge, just like all of you were in school. What school is now is very much different when I was in school. You just breezed through what I went through in high school. Now it's much more difficult, so much competition. Very, very difficult. But in previous ages, things were much more simple. So we have some difficulty, but if we're persistent, we can do it. Youth is meant for knowledge. Middle age is meant for utilizing that knowledge in one's career, and one's family, and one's contribution to society and the world. And old age is meant for realization. You get that knowledge, you work on that knowledge, and then comes Vigyan. From Gyan becomes Vigyan. So you guys have a head start. Many of us, I came when I was 19, 20. Mataji was mentioning last night how there's hardly anyone under 30, just Jayananda, he was 35, I remember, in San Francisco. If you were over 30, you were really old. But we started a little late, but many of you have started in the womb. Your parents had the Garbhadam Samskara. So due to your pious activity or your previous devotional service, most likely due to your previous devotional service, you took that birth. And this is meant to be your last birth. So you have to give everything, all of your youth to this process, along with your education and your career and your marriages and so forth and so on. You have to find the time to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. 16 rounds. Oh, Swami, you don't understand what it's like today in this world, and I have school, and I have my friends, and I have this and that. No, Prabhupada set the standard. Previously, it was 64 rounds for everybody in the Gaudiya Math. Prabhupada said 16. One time we were sitting, Prabhupada was giving a lecture, actually an initiation lecture, and then the candidates came up for initiation. And one of my god-sisters, I forget her name, bless her soul, Prabhupada said, so what are the rules and regulations? How many rounds will you chant? And she said the 4 regulative principles. There was a little, confidence, some pride, it's okay. She said, Srila Prabhupada, I promise to chant a minimum of 16 rounds every day. And then Prabhupada, it was unusual, he leaned over, he said, why a minimum? Why not more? Because the chanting is the source of all our auspiciousness. Anything auspicious in our life, it comes from that sacred sound, Sri Nam. So try to come up to that point. But the odds are against us in one sense, because tatas chanu dhanam dharma satyam socham shamadhaya kalena balina jan nansat yayur balim shmiti. Then, O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, austerity, duration of life, physical strength, and memory will diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali. So actually, we're fortunate to have this advice from the Lord, because when you look at the world, it looks okay, for the most part, right? When you look around, it looks okay. But it's not all that meets the eye. For example, when you look at a beautiful forest, here, we're on the island I was appreciating. This is really beautiful. The nature in Australia is really beautiful. So you may think, oh, look at this beautiful forest, a lovely place, pretty green trees, deer. Do you have deer here? Deer roaming around, birds chirping. You have wombats, kangaroo, butterflies. It's all peaceful and quiet, right? It looks nice. But actually, if you've ever lived in a forest, you'll know that there's a bitter struggle going on. For every living entity is food for another living entity. That's described in Srimad Bhagavatam, I think it's 1st canto, 13th chapter, verse 47. Ahastani sahashtanam, apadhani chatushpadan, fal guni tatamahatam, jivo jivasa jivanam. Those who are devoid of hands are prey for those who have hands. Those devoid of legs are prey for those of the four-legged. The weak are the subsistence of the strong, and the general rule holds that one living being is food for another. Yuck. That's what's going on. Even the trees are engaged in a bitter struggle. Where do they get their sustenance? Where do they get their nourishment? Under the ground. They have their roots. But if you look at a tree, I studied botany when I was in high school. The branches are like this, but the roots of the tree are, by nature's way, are as wide as the branches. Did you know that? There's this tree, but the roots are as wide. And what are the roots? They're all competing. There's only so much soil. There's only so much nourishment. So the trees are fighting under the ground. The beautiful tree. Look at the cherry blossoms. The trees, and they're also competing for the sunshine, because they thrive on the sunshine as well. So you go to a forest, you see often the tall trees are the most healthy, green and producing flowers or fruits. And the ones that didn't make it that high, there's just a few leaves and there's no fruits. So there's a big competition going on just amongst the beautiful trees. So every, creature, I think you have 5 types of snakes in Australia. We're going to go to the countryside. I have to be careful. And so many rabbits and so many kangaroos and some butterflies and look at the beautiful, but they're all fighting for survival because one living entity is food for another. So there's a bitter struggle. So the material world very often it looks very nice, but we have to see the eyes of Shastra, Guru and Shastra. It's said that a saintly person, intelligent person, he sees with his ears, not through his eyes. So we have the Guru and we have the Shastra, so we don't fall prey to this becoming enamored by what the material world has to offer us. It's an illusion. It doesn't, in a more subtle sense, the material enjoyment here doesn't really exist. Therefore, elsewhere in the Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami, he describes material enjoyment as what? Gandharva Pura. Gandharva Pura. What's a Gandharva Pura? It's a house in the sky. Maharaj, houses are not in the sky. Yeah, well, that's the point. Shukadeva Goswami, material enjoyment is Gandharva Pura. It's a house in the sky. Oh, that means it doesn't exist. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Or elsewhere, it's described as a horse egg. There's no such thing as a horse egg. Horses don't lay eggs. Yeah, a material world doesn't give real enjoyment. You see how they are. Nevertheless, Maya's very expert in keeping us here, in making the material world look attractive. And she's so powerful. Actually, she's a devotee of Krishna. Maya Devi is actually a pure devotee of Krishna. Prabhupada said she has the thankless task of keeping the living entities bound here in material existence until they become qualified to go back to the spiritual world. You don't have to stay here forever. She doesn't want anyone unqualified to go back to the world of her Lord and try to serve there with some selfish desires. So she's the warden of the prison of material existence, Maya Devi. We're scared of her, but actually she's a pure devotee. She has a thankless task. Can you imagine? Being the warden in a prison? But as soon as the prisoners are rectified, they open the gate, you can come out. So as soon as we become rectified, Jivera Swapoya Krishnara Nityadas, we realize, I'm not of this world, I'm Krishna's devotee, I'm out of here. And that veil of illusion fades very slowly. And one day you have darshan and you can go home. So don't underestimate her tricks, how we become attracted here. I was sitting with Prabhupada in London, and my godbrother, Kurukshetra Prabhu, he was having a little trouble. So Prabhupada said to him, the trouble with you, Kurukshetra, is you're not afraid of Maya. You're playing, you're tinkering with her. So give it up. You can only give up something if you get something better. That's Niti Shastra. You can only give up something if you get something better. If you have $1 and I have $10, I say, let's make an exchange. Hey, okay. You give me your $1, I give you my $10. So we have to be honest. We have some attractions here. There are obstacles in the path of pure devotion. How do we give them up? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Why? Because Krishna, Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. Krishna is present in the sound of his name. And what? Prabhupada paraphrased everything about Krishna. He said, he is the reservoir of all pleasure. If you get the reservoir of all pleasure, anything less than that, you can renounce it. So their renunciation becomes very easy in this world. You just chant your rounds every day. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. It's so simple. Simple for the simple-minded, difficult for the complicated. So how is Maya so powerful? Because Maya Devi is an expansion of Yoga Maya in the spiritual world. You know Yoga Maya, Purnamasi? In Vrindavan Leela, she's the one who arranges all the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. She gets up in the morning with Vrinda Devi. They go to Gupta Kund, which is near Vrindakund, and they make the plans. How Radha and Krishna will enjoy their day together. The place that the pastime will happen, the breeze that will be there, the flowers that will be there, the different perfumes coming from the flowers, what tunes, what melodies the birds will sing, what animals can come and watch, how the pastime unfolds. Everything is arranged by Yogamaya, Purnamasi, and Vrinda Devi. Every day they meet at Gupta Kund and they make the pastimes. Like that. She's so powerful. And she's so powerful that the residents of Vrindavan, by her mercy, forget Krishna's God. Because God means sir. Sir, yes, sir. But Krishna, he allows the spiritual potency of Yogamaya to bewilder us. So they just think he's just some cool little boy who they can wrestle with and they can dance with. But all the while, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yogamaya. She's so amazing. So she expands that power. Even sometimes Krishna forgets he's God, according to Jiva Goswami, to facilitate the pastime. He forgets he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is Yogamaya. So they can have more intimate relationship. No Aishvarya Bhav, awe and reverence, but Braj Bhakti, just pure intimate love. So that personality, Yogamaya, she expands into this material as Maya, as Mahamaya. We say in Polish, uwaga, be careful, be careful. And you'll be protected if you chant. Everyone likes to wear the little kavachas. How many of you are wearing little kavachas? The Shringaka. This is the real kavacha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Protection from Maya. Just like when Marichi became a deer in Ram Leela and went into the forest and wanted to serve Ravana by allowing him to capture Sita. Sita, Ram, Lakshman, and Hanuman were in the forest, and so Marichi, by his mystic powers, he appeared as a deer, a golden deer, very attractive. So the deer came by that transcendental party, and Sita saw the deer. She said, Ram, I want the deer, get the deer for me. So Ram chased off like a dutiful husband. And then, but Marichi, he had this mystic power. He cried out in the name, in the voice of Ram, Lakshman, help! So Sita and Lakshman, they heard this voice and they were thinking, oh, Ram's in trouble. So Lakshman said, wait a minute, Ram's not in trouble. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This must be a trick. So Sita said, no, you go help your brother. No, you go. You don't disobey the goddess of fortune. So Ram said, okay, I'll go. But it was a dangerous forest. So he took his sword and he made a circle around Sita in the dust, in the dirt. and while chanting a mantra. A kavacha, by mantra, a kavacha. And he left. And you know the story. Ravana came, the biggest asura, the most powerful demon ever in creation, 10 heads. Of course, he was disguised, but so powerful. Here's this little princess in the forest, just out of the palace. Her tender feet were getting pricked by the rocks and the stones, and, pale, and, just a young lady in the forest. And he came and he tried to... This is not mythology, this is not a fairy tale, this is absolute truth. He couldn't touch her because of mantra. Prabhupada said one time, 2 things never deteriorate in Kali Yuga. The potency of jewels never deteriorate because astrologers use jewels sometimes to ward off the planets, and mantras. When I heard that, I was amazed. 2 things never deteriorate in Kali Yuga. A good jewel, here's a jewel. What's a sannyasi wearing a jewel for? No, but this jewel, it's a long story, was worn 500 years ago by Lord Nityananda. Yes. When Nitai went back to the spiritual world, Janava took his paraphernalia. And when Gaur Nitai would go on Sankirtan, they would dress up very nicely, long black hair, and they had their garlands and their jewels to attract the people to the chanting, etc. So when Nitai left this world, Janava Mata, his wife, brought all that paraphernalia to Vrindavan for safekeeping in the Radha Damodar temple of Jiva Goswami. It's been kept there for hundreds and hundreds of years under lock and key. But one of the Mahants, this is a little confidential, one of the Mahants became a very dear friend of mine, and he showed me the paraphernalia one day, and one jewel dropped onto the table. And he looked at it, and I looked at it, I said, Baba, Baba, please, I need mercy. I'm traveling the world. I only stay in one place 3 days. You can imagine in 54 years how many beds I've slept in, places I've been. He said, all right, you're a disciple of His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. You take it and you continue his mission. So I took that jewel that was worn by Nityananda. I mean, it's priceless. If you gave the whole world, I wouldn't give it to you. And I put it in this ring, and I wear this ring to get some mercy from Nitai to keep pushing forward the Sankirtan movement. Anyway, that's a little bit off the... But I thought you can see, well, you have to go like this, like they do, when they put the lamp after the artik, you can go like this. Get the mercy. Come on, get the mercy. So jewels and mantras don't deteriorate. So therefore Ravana couldn't touch, tender Sita. Only when she stepped outside the mantra did he grab her. So you also have that kavacha for the age of Kali Kali Nam Rup Krishna Avatar. That holy name of Krishna has descended from the spiritual world in the form of the Mahamantra. It's very powerful. If you chant it regularly, you're protected. You could wear 1,000,000 of those little silver kavachas. It's not as powerful as one Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. So Yogamaya is very powerful, and Mahamaya is just as powerful. So we have to be very, very cautious. We have to be very, 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 very careful. Not thinking that, I won't be fooled. We can be fooled. Even great demigods are fooled. Look how Brahma became fooled one time. Indra, he was inundating all of Vrindavan with, the clouds and the water. He became a little bewildered. There's so many examples. So we have to be, knowing that, we have to be very careful. We're very small. The material world is very big, but if we know where to take shelter, we don't have to worry. Like one time Prabhupada was walking on the beach with the scientist devotees in Juhu, and as they were walking, there was a little colony of crabs ahead of them. So as Prabhupada and the devotees are walking, the crabs went whoop. Crabs don't go forward. Crabs go sideways. What a birth. You can't go straight. You have to go sideways everywhere. So the crabs went into the ocean. So Prabhupada said, why have those crabs gone into the ocean? And one of the scientists, I think it was Bhaktivest Maharaj, he said, Prabhupada, when we put our foot on the ground, it creates a certain energy. And that vibration goes through the sand, and when it comes close to the crab's body, the crabs feel it, it goes into their brain, and the C fibers in the brain say danger. And Prabhupada said, what? So Prabhupada said, no. He said that the crabs, they could sense danger because there's a large body of human beings coming, so they could sense there's some danger. And they're very small, and all the big feet are going to come onto them. So although they're very small, they went left into the ocean, and they were protected in the greater ocean. So a little crab, there's danger, he takes shelter of something much bigger, the ocean. So Maya's very big, very powerful, demigods are getting bewildered. And who are we? We're little jivatmas. What do we do? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Yes, Maya is very. Even we can get bewildered just by some simple magic. There's magicians nowadays. I've seen on the internet they do tricks. How are they doing that? Sleight of hand. We get bewildered by a little magician. What to speak of Maya? So every day we have to chant our rounds, right? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'll tell you a quick pastime. It's not a pastime. It's a story. Sometimes Prabhupada would tell stories. How powerful is magic? So that we can appreciate how powerful Maya is, so we take shelter of the ocean of the holy name. It's a true story. It's actually a true story. It took place in the 1700s. There was a king in Bengal, very powerful Raj. He'd conquered over all his enemies, and they were living in an era of prosperity and peace, etc. So one year it was his wife's birthday. And he decided, let's have a big celebration. My wife's going to be 35 or something like that. We'll have this big bash and so forth. And so, he had so many things on the agenda that they would enjoy, and one of them was a magic show. And at that time in history, there was a very famous magician who lived in, I think 100 kilometers away in some village. He was very famous. So the king, he sent a message to the magician to come and do a magic show for the king and the queen, and then the rest of the family and the ministers, and it was a big deal. They had a big auditorium. The queen was so, magic show, honey, thank you so much, I love magic. So the magician came with his wife and his son and his daughter. And you're the crowd, and then here's the magician, and the king's sitting there with the queen, and they're all watching. So they're doing all kinds of things. I don't know, pulling rabbits out of hats. I don't know what they do. And, putting a gold coin here and taking it out the other ear, whatever. But they were really good magicians. So at one point, the magician, he takes, his wife was wearing a diamond necklace. So he took the diamond necklace off his wife and walked up and put it on the queen, like this. Oh, that's wonderful. The magician has given a diamond necklace from his wife, but his wife didn't like that. So they started arguing. Like in the middle of the show, they're arguing. Why did you give my diamond necklace to the queen? Oh, because she's the queen, and maybe she'll give us a bigger. No, they're fighting like that. So suddenly the wife of the magician, she slaps him in the face. So then what he does, he's so angry, he takes his sword And she keeps slapping him and slapping him. He steps back. He cut off her head. Right in the middle of the magic show. This is true. I saw the scribes of that particular king. It was written in a museum in Orissa. He cut off his wife's head. And like the whole assembly, like, oh my God, what's happening? Oh my God, what's happening? So then, very quickly, the son, her son, their son, he had a dagger. He went and he slit the throat of his father, the magician. And then his sister picked up the sword and stabbed him through the heart. And then she committed suicide. Oh my God, Maharaj, this is Bhagavatam class. And there was this river of blood. I mean, it wasn't a river, but there was so much blood. And some of the bodies were still shaking, because of the nerves. Oh my God. So the queen, she fainted. And the king was like, and then he picked up the queen and he carried her back to their chambers. And their children were totally bewildered. And all the citizens, they were just, what happened? And it just, then the soldiers came and cleaned up the bodies and cleaned up the blood and yuck. So several months later, people were still in shock. Several months later, a courier came with a letter for the king and the queen. I think it was at dinner time. And the king received the letter and he said, no, I'll read later. And the courier said, you have to read it now, this letter. No, I'm having dinner. You have to read it now. All right. Everyone stop eating because he didn't want to, he wanted to eat with everybody. So everyone's listening, there's children are there, the ministers are there, everybody important is there, and he pulls out the letter. The courier said, read it out loud. Read it out loud? Yes, read it out loud. All right. My dear king, my dear queen, your children, your ministers, the citizens of that great region. We would like to thank you for allowing us to put on a magic show for you 3 months ago. You heard we were very good. Actually, we're the best ever. So I hope you enjoyed this show. Please don't think that anyone died. It was all magic. It was all magic. There wasn't a single drop of blood. We're doing very well back in our village here. If you need us again, please let us know. And can we have the diamond necklace back? This is a true story. I mean, if our modern magicians, I don't know, David Copperfield or something, if they can do that, what can, these magicians of days of yore, who maybe had some subtle powers, some cities or something, what could they do? So my point is what? My point is that if we can get fooled by a magic show, what about the greatest magician, Maya Devi, who makes this world look so nice, but actually it's not nice. The niceness is the spiritual world. So remain protected, because if demigods can get bewildered, what about little people from, Sydney and Brisbane and Fiji? How we can? But we have Mahaprabhu's grace. Just like Sita. Oh, I'd like to see that, in the Treta Yuga, somebody could be protected by, a mantra put around them. You have the same benefit. It's very mystical. You're very blessed. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. You're protected. But of course, the Maha Mantra, the goal of the Maha Mantra is not to be protected, because one day you have to die. So what's the real, deeper essence of the mantra? Jeto Darpana Marjanam. It cleanses the heart of lust and anger and greed. And it uproots those nasty material desires, which cause those material qualities to be there. Those material desires are thrown to a distant place, and deep within your heart there's a golden seed of prema, love for Radhesham. And if you chant long enough, the heart becomes purified, the material desires go away, and then you can see Krishna. And it's possible to go back to Godhead in one lifetime. I mentioned that the other day. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, I see no reason all my disciples cannot go back home, back to Godhead in one lifetime. And you've got a head start, all of you. You have an advantage. By the time you're my age, you may be, oh, Govinda, feeling your separation. I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence, just like Maharaj said at the Bhaktifest in 2026. You have a great future. Don't get tricked by Maya. It's a little difficult in youth because your senses are stronger, but don't get tricked. Just have faith what I'm saying. And Prabhupada said, when we get back to the spiritual world, we'll all recognize each other. And he said, but you won't recognize me like this. As an old man, I'll be a young boy. And he told one of my godbrothers that when we get back to the spiritual world, the spiritual master is waiting for you. This is right from the lips of Srila Prabhupada. When you get back to the spiritual world, your guru is waiting for you. And he greets you. And he takes your hand, Prabhupada said, into the kunja, into the forest where Krishna's waiting for you. And he puts your hand into Krishna's hand. And it leaves the two of you together for a little while. This is the goal. What else, what illusory Maya illusion in this world could compare to the ultimate journey that we're on? So stay strong. Don't get distracted. Eke Kuru Nandana, keep your eye on the goal. Braj, Vrindavan, read everything, hear everything about Braj. That'll inspire you. And in this one lifetime, you'll make it. Prabhupada gave a lecture in Detroit on his first visit, the first time I saw him. And he said to us, the children of your children will become pure devotees. He said that. So I said, what about me? What about my children? I was thinking like that, you know. He said, the children of your children can become pure devotees. So that's you. You're like third or fourth generation. We're expecting you to come to that point and keep pushing on this movement that this first generation has carried on from Srila Prabhupada, and be happy. So thank you very much. Time for Prashadam. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Prem Don Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki. Shishivara Shamasundar ki. Maya boo. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.